The term dream car, it's a funny thing. We all have one, but realizing that dream, that's where things get tough. Some call it a shortcut, others, they call it flat out dumb. But as for me personally, I like my dream cars like this Porsche 911 GT3 RS with just a little nightmare thrown in. That's why today we find ourselves at one of the biggest salvage auctions on the planet, Insurance Auto Auctions here in Fort Worth, Texas. It's not a secret by any stretch of the imagination at this point that I'm a Porsche guy, but I have been getting the McLaren itch. And I mean, with this color scheme, I saw it from 30,000 feet on my flight in, so I couldn't not come check it out. It is wrapped up, so we're not going to be able to see the inside of it, but what really matters is right here in the front passenger corner anyway. The frame damage, at face value, isn't too bad. It's essentially in the right place. There is a little tear. Where this does have a possibility to become a major issue is, if I recall correctly, these front aluminum frame rails are integrated into the carbon tub. So if energy transferred any further back, we could be looking at a much more serious issue. Though I certainly could be wrong about that. But dealing in what I do know, these panels, you're gonna need a hood. You need every bit of this front end. Coolers, fenders, headlights. It doesn't look like it's a super hard structural wreck, though I'm sure there is frame damage past what we just saw over there somewhere on this. But that aside, you're gonna need a ton of little stuff, and I think it's eventually gonna add up on a car like this. The door section there is dented in. It's actually fits my leg quite well. And now for some good, the back end of this car, it's pretty immaculate. It does look like it's been sitting here for a little bit, so it's a little filthy, but the paint even, it looks really good. It truly does. The carbon fiber wing, that's fully intact. The rear bumper, which none of this stuff can be cheap to replace. I've said it over and over and over in these videos. I'd much rather focus on one area than have to do that, fix the front end, and then still have to come back here and work the rear. The driver's side of the car, all the way until you get up here to the forward portion of the fender, that looks really good. The wheels, the suspension, I presume they're good, though that back one does have just a tad bit of curbing. I can't even pretend to be the most up-to-date on McLaren options and specs, but I did notice that spoiler labeled MSO is known as their high downforce kit, and it's like 10 grand alone. Over here on the front passenger side, you have that wheel curbed up pretty good. I think that got knocked around just a little bit. It doesn't look completely in place. Overall, I think it's a pretty phenomenal car. It looks like a fairly intensive fix up here, but there's not that one thing that makes it super catastrophic. There is zero chance this won't be back on the road in fairly short order. We got to get into the GT3 RS because realistically, of the cars that are here, it's the one that I actually want to buy. I parted out one of these guys about a year ago here at the shop, and I did do a video on it, so go check that out after this one. And that was about the time I really fell in love with the car. Seeing the nice touches, seeing the cool stuff they did, like this, the carbon fiber fenders that are incredibly expensive. At that time, these guys were completely 110% out of my price range. But now, I'm super stoked at the fact that I still can't afford one of these. Yeah, you thought that was going somewhere else, didn't you? I suppose I should clarify a little bit. I can't afford one of these clean title. I might, and I say might, be able to buy one that looks like this. The one that we did in the shop previously was absolutely destroyed. It got hit with a telephone pole or something right about there, and it got hit so hard that it broke pinch wells in the rear of the car. Just off the bat, this one does have some major issues, but it doesn't look anything like that. So at the very least, we're off to a better start. I see that, and we'll get to that in a minute. But first, we're gonna look at the good stuff. One touch that I didn't know they had here, even the fender bracket is carbon fiber. That is wildly cool to me. I know it's nice when it actually has a fender attached to it. That's not the case here, but I still think it's pretty awesome. You see this wheel here, it's ground down pretty good. Right there, it's fully broken, fully cracked. These wheels aren't horrendously expensive, so on something like this, I assume it's gonna be easier just to buy a replacement instead of trying to do whatever you have to do to fix that. The whole cooling assembly up here, that's just bashed off. The hoses may have survived somewhat. I would count on replacing absolutely everything up here. Now the good news we have, along with some more carbon fiber there, is the frame rail doesn't, to me, at least right now, look bent. You see insurance mark the front bumper beam is bad. The lower radiator support there is broken. I know that's not an expensive part because I had to buy it on my GT4. On the front end of this car, you are gonna get nickel and dimed. That's not the worst thing on such an expensive car. You see hoses are damaged. There's a lot going on up here. But I also think it's equally likely that a lot survived, like that center radiator. Over on the less damaged side, the driver's side, this fared much better, though it looks like the bumper simply got ripped off. It did crack the headlight, which is an absolute bummer. These are like $2,700 a pop from Porsche, so maybe we could find a lens and just repair it. That is 110% pure speculation, so don't take my word on that. As for the coolers over here, solid. Very solid. They don't appear to even have a bent fin, really. This carbon fiber fender over here did get it, oh man, just a little bit. That is going to be something that's easy to fix. You can have a composite guy, and if you're local to me, I know a really good one I can recommend you. You're going to have him take care of that, but I guarantee once you see how much these fenders are, you're not going to want to just jump right to replacing it. As for the running gear over here on the driver's side, that looks pretty straight. There's no good reason why that suspension wouldn't be fully intact. The wheel looks good. The tire even looks good. On the rear, same deal. It looks like the car was originally gloss black and they wrapped it matte black. As far as body damage goes, it looks really good on the driver's side. On the rear, it left some of the rear bumper behind. Got the taillight just a little bit too. That's actually pretty horrendous luck on this car. Having the driver taillight crack just so slightly and having the same thing happen on the driver headlight. But moving on, because the taillight in the grand scheme of things isn't the biggest deal, what do we have here? What's that old saying? If it looks like a titanium exhaust and it sounds like a titanium exhaust, then it's a titanium exhaust. The rear deck lid here, that's in good shape, and that is GT3 specific as shown by that grille right there. That's not something you want to get into replacing unless you have to, so that's a huge plus. Moving on over to the passenger side here, goes downhill fairly quickly, though I don't see anything catastrophic back here. The end plate on the spoiler, that's not great. The spoiler is definitely not cheap. The rear wheel, the rear suspension, the rear quarter, all gonna need work, if not replacement. Beautiful carbon fiber hood there. It is super light, and that's not because it's missing half of it right there. It's just a really light hood. This here is really unfortunate. The carbon hood latch section of this got ripped out. I believe, in my unexpert opinion, that you could have that fixed. As far as the front tub damage up here, this stuff's pretty simple. I did this on our GT4. It's not that big of a deal. All you have to do is own a forklift and a chain and you're good to go. Pretty much, or at least that's how I did it. Really though, the piece that's most damaged here is a bolt-on piece that costs like 60 bucks. The front firewall there, it's super thin once you get the support off of it. It's barely even kinked. This is the easier fix than the GT4, and I thought that was a pretty easy fix. Now I suppose we've got to talk about this. The worst part of this whole thing, and the part that gives me shivers thinking about trying to fix it. My GT4, I addressed that area up there, good to go. The whole front end was done, wasn't that big of a deal. This is a little more labor intensive. The big question I have with this whole car, was this a result of the wreck? Did the guy hit something? Did it go off a track and pop that strut tower out? Possibly. Or the not so conspiracy theory, was this the cause of the wreck? This would not be the first time that's happened on a 991 GT3 at all. In fact, it's been quite the point of contention on these cars. You can see it's a cast aluminum housing there. It's one big cast aluminum section that's welded in the sheet metal. This failure is becoming all too common on these cars. There are some aftermarket solutions, I believe. There's a strut tower brace or something like that that's supposed to help remedy it. It goes without saying though, that if you or I bought a car like this and that happened and it caused this, I think we'd all be well within our right to be really mad about it. I have seen pictures of ones online that it's just kind of open like a can and it hasn't fully separated. Well, this one fully separated so bad that it bent the shock. This is very satisfying. Very, very satisfying. Oh yeah, there is our front bumper. It is not in one piece. Not in one piece at all. No cage or anything in this car. We have a yellow stitch steering wheel with a yellow center stripe, Alcantara, PDK transmission, of course. It looks like a beautifully spec'd car. It's nothing serious, nothing too crazy, but it just looks like a really clean example. The driver's lower airbag blue, the driver's steering wheel bag blue. None of those are particularly expensive because you can get them out of a base 911. As far as the interior goes, I'm not seeing anything that would preclude me from buying this car. One thing that does really suck though is it doesn't have a key, so we can't even try to finagle our way in there and start it. The engines hang low in these, they really do. But looking through there is the skid plate, that's not quite on the ground. As far as engine damage from below, I think we're clear. One thing that unless you're in the industry, you probably don't take into consideration is why this car's here. We have a very clear reason for that. on an exotic like this, if it shows up at auction and it has a little damage here, a little damage there, then you might have some suspicions about what made it come here. They definitely don't total them for nothing. Is there engine damage you can't see? Do you have to look a little deeper into it? I think looking at this car tells the whole story, and it's a story that I would like to buy. The question is, how much does it go for? The one we bought before was hit much harder. If I recall, all in on that car, we were at 88 grand. We did okay on the parts front. It wasn't terrible. This car theoretically should go for more. The only thing that's gonna change that is how people view this. If there are people out there that think that they can just kind of hack this together and weld it, which is not something I would do at all, are they gonna pay over 100 grand for this car? I would hope not. I don't think that's the case, but you never know. Of everything we saw today, this is clearly the one that I'm most excited about. I really, really like these cars, and at some point, even if it's not this one, I need to get my hands on one. As far as dream cars go, this doesn't quite fit into my profile of one. A BMW M8. I do suppose, though, that unlike me, not everybody likes their dream car to be some loud, obnoxious, hard to drive thing. And if you fall into that category, well, the BMW M8 might be the perfect car for you. Here's the downside of this whole thing. I don't know anything about it. It looks fancy, it's M, it has a high number behind it, it's gotta be expensive. It's about all I can tell you. It does have power. We probably could start this thing, but if you look at that message right there, it says it needs the coolant topped off, so I don't wanna start a $150,000 car. Am I right? Am I wrong? With low coolant. Before we get to that front end damage, the rear end of it, very, very nice. 10 out of 10, I suppose. It actually does look pretty cool. I haven't seen a lot of these on the street. Let's go ahead and unhook this oil cooler mount. Not factory BMW, FYI. There's no physical damage, at least to the engine, and it doesn't look like it's been robbed of parts like some of the other BMWs I've seen at the auction. We did recently look at an M4 competition, and that car was awesome. It had a carbon fiber hood. No such luck here, though I suppose this is more of a touring car. Speaking of the hood, it's definitely going to need to be replaced. This is some very odd damage. I don't know why they cut it out, unless they couldn't get the hood popped. The tires, they've seen better days. Not what I would expect from a car of this caliber. Somebody went and treated this thing like a German Hellcat. You're gonna need every single cooler, except maybe this back radiator here. This upper frame section got bent up a little bit right there. It looks like it joins right there, so that's not too bad of a fix. This is one of those cars that I don't quite know why it got totaled. Unless it followed the path of some of those other really large, expensive luxury sedans, and the price has just plummeted on this since new. I would have assumed that this was valuable enough to make justifying fixing this kind of damage not that big of a deal. On this side, it looks like they've marked the lower subframe damage there, and that's actually just a bracket. So what that tells me is they went through this car with a fine-tooth comb to try to total it. Either that or a part like this front bumper here is just uber expensive and stuff just started adding up. But as for one single thing that totaled this car, I really don't see it. You know what these things do to me. 997 turbo, possibly my favorite car of all time. We're gonna start off with one thing I love and one thing I'm not so fond of. 997.2, love that. The better taillights, the better rear bumper. And now for the thing that I don't like, I'm pretty sure you guys know where this is going, the soft top. Not a convertible guy, especially not on a Legend like this. I did at first glance think it was black, but it looks like it's gray. I believe it's called Meteor Gray. One other thing that's a little odd, yellow brake calipers usually indicate carbon ceramic brakes on these. It is common to replace the carbon ceramic brake rings with steel once they wear out, but that's not the case here. These are just full-blown steel one-piece rotors. Porsche did offer a lot of options, so I'm sure if you really wanted to, you could spec a steel brake car with yellow calipers. But as far as body damage, it's pretty minty. I don't see a single piece of damage on it. We could consider that damage. Nobody wants a yellow mirror cap on this car. After I took my Porsche colored sunglasses off, I did notice it's also missing a front lip, but no big deal. This car is a flood car. As imagined, it smells terrible. You have the PDK transmission there. You have what looked like a nice aftermarket radio setup. The yellow seatbelts, that's a nice touch. Makes a little more sense with the calipers and even the mirror cover, though it's still ugly. As far as active water damage, I don't see a lot. It's clear that somebody's very thoroughly cleaned the bottom of this car. They didn't bother so much with the top part. That's still pretty disgusting. I don't see any active mold. That's all dust and dirt over there. Same deal with the seats. Pretty terrible, but far from the worst I've seen. Poor girl won't power up at all, so we're not gonna be able to pop the frunk or the engine cover. We are kind of just gonna have to take what we see here and assume. The insurance company didn't mark a water line on this, so we're not gonna get any help there. IAA.com didn't give us any more info, so this one's sort of a mystery Porsche. The only thing we can do now with all the cars we've looked at today is just wait till they run at auction and see what they go for. But in the meantime, let me know what you guys would want to fix and what you want to see on the channel. As for me, I'll see you guys back here very soon, and with any luck, it'll be with one of these cars.